Rio Grande Valley. This portion of the wall was funded with federal money previously negotiated by the Trump administration. Nobody seems to report that. We've also repaired a lot of the bad walls that were out there, and there is new construction. Now, meanwhile, this garbage deal that I've been telling you about out of Washington, which allocates a measly additional $1.375 billion for wall construction, well, that has not yet been signed by the president. As a matter of fact, nobody in the White House has seen any language in the bill. None. So let's be frank. It's not nearly enough money. Washington lawmakers, the swamp creatures, they have once again let we, the people, the American people, down. This is a swamp compromise. Now, let me make some predictions. Based on what the president is saying publicly, because I love the press, they love to speculate. How did Hannity get his information? All right. We know this is a president that keeps his promises, and he goes at the speed of Trump. And if you watch every speech, if you actually listen to Donald Trump's words, you know, especially you people in the hate Trump media, you psychos, he telegraphs, he's saying exactly what he's planning to do. You're too stupid to listen. Watch this.
So much crime comes in through our southern border. Illegal immigration provides a lucrative cash flow, to put it mildly lucrative, to some of the most dangerous criminal organizations on the planet. These deadly cartels flood our cities with narcotics that kill thousands of our citizens, ruin families. They use fear, intimidation, and violence to get their way. There's only one moral course of action: to put these ruthless criminal cartels out of business, and out of business fast. I will never waver from my sacred duty to defend this nation and its people. We will get the job done.
Works. All right. He's saying he's going to get the job done. Let me make a prediction. Let's base it on what you just heard and what we've witnessed the last 2 years. The president's going to find the way to get the money. Now, look at this bill. $1.375 billion. Not enough, but it will keep the ball in the project moving along, assuming, we haven't seen the language, there's no poison pill or restrictions in there thrown in by a swamp creature in the last minute that says you can't build a wall with the money. That happens. I don't think the president will sign that bill. In that case, he would probably move to a short-term CR, and the Congress creatures will go back to do the crappy work that they usually do. And then if they get it right, he'll sign that bill. But let's assume that they get it right. That, in other words, he gets $1.375 billion for the wall now. Well, that prevents a government shutdown. That's a good thing. But in order to meet our borders and our security needs, the president has stated publicly, not just to Sean Hannity, that he will also tap into hundreds of millions, at least $900 million, but I'm told the number is much higher, other discretionary funds that he can direct that money directly to the wall, which then brings us to $2 or $3 billion, again, in the interim. And it sounds like what he's saying is he's going to simultaneously declare a national emergency to free up billions more. Now, the hate Trump media, if that happens, they're going to feign moral indignation, outrage, hysteria will break out. Meanwhile, they'll say, how did Hannity know? Well, because I've listened to him, and he's telling you the entire time what he's going to do. Donald Trump, quote, I will add whatever I have to add to build the wall. President tweeting, I am getting almost $23 billion for border security. Now, that money, the $23 billion he's talking about, that can be spent on everything else but the wall. But if he declares a national emergency or uses the law, which we've been citing on this program, U.S. Code 284, well, we know what the Democrats are going to do. They're going to immediately run to the courts. They'll go judge shopping. They'll find a liberal activist judge somewhere in California or anywhere in the Ninth Circuit. They will lose. The president will lose the first round, go to the Ninth Circuit. He'll lose the second round. But in the interim, he still gets $1.375 billion. So he continues the project, and the other funds continues the project. And I believe when it gets to the Supreme Court, he's going to win. And this Supreme Court's going to have to take this case, considering, let's see, it's a constitutional question about his role as commander-in-chief. It's about separation of powers. It's about national security. And just a side note, all of you in the media, I don't know why, everyone's been obsessed. Hannity's predicting this. That's what I'm predicting is going to happen because I actually listen to the publicly stated words of the president. So keep speculating. Nobody in the media has any idea of who my sources are, who they're not, and who I talk to, who I don't talk to, and I will not reveal my sources. And all these hate Trump media outlets, they all pretend they're unbiased, that they're journalists. Well, I don't claim to be a journalist. We do journalism. What we say about being a talk show host, we're like the whole newspaper. Now, we do straight news when there's a war, straight news on weather, straight news on important, incidences that are happening, like Ferguson when that was happening, or Baltimore. And then we give a lot of opinion. So we're the news page, the editorial page, the opinion page. We even do gossip and sports. Like tonight, for example, Tim Tebow's on. So we're like the whole newspaper. That's what we do, freedom of the press. But we identify what we do. Now, we do our own research like we did with vetting Obama, like we do on the deep state. We do investigations. We bring you news and information you won't hear or see anywhere else, and opinion you won't get anywhere else. But all these hate Trump news people that claim to be journalists, no, they're really editorial writers and ones that make up a lot of BS at the same time. So tonight, when it comes to building the wall, whatever has to be done, the president is saying will be done. Not for political reasons, but for the safety and the security of all Americans. He sees this, rightly so, as a life and death issue. But don't just take my word for it. Maybe some of the people on these fake news channels, maybe they should start speaking to angel moms and dads. Maybe a woman like Maureen Maloney, her son Matthew, killed by a drunk driving illegal immigrant from Ecuador. You got that, Senator Menendez? He was upset that illegal immigrants could actually be classified as criminals if they get caught drunk driving. And yesterday, Maloney urged President Trump to hold strong in this fight for the border wall. Now, sadly, she is among thousands of our fellow Americans whose lives have been ripped apart, permanent separation by violent criminals because we have open borders that have entered this country illegally. In the past 2 years alone, ICE arresting illegal immigrants who are accused or convicted of 4,000 murder, homicide charges, carnage from illegal drugs. 90% of the heroin crossing that southern border is even worse. Every single week, 300 Americans are dying from heroin overdoses, almost all of which trafficked across that border. Now, that's why Americans are overwhelmingly backing up the president and his plan to secure the border. Brand new Fox polls, 66% of Americans approve of the president's efforts. You Republicans in the House and Senate, you may just want to follow his lead. Good politics. According to Gallup, the president's overall poll numbers are up a whopping 7 points since the government shutdown. He had his highest number, 52%, on the Rasmussen poll. Earlier this week, he filled an arena in El Paso, Texas. Look at that. And, that's inside the arena. Am I correct? Yes. Then he had thousands and thousands of others outside the arena. Nobody in the media talks about this. What other president got those types of crowds? Now, some on the left, they try and pretend the president has no support at all. I've never seen a president with more support. Look at late night loser Stephen Colbert himself just last week. Watch this.
Trump's inaugural committee raised a record $107 million, which was double the previous record set by Barack Obama. What was all that money for? I mean, obviously, they didn't need it for crowd control.
Yeah, let's show the picture before the inauguration ever took place. Don't worry, your audience is stupid enough that they'll probably believe your crap. Maybe Colbert needs to attend a Trump rally. Maybe he will see the unbelievable enthusiasm, people standing for hours and hours and hours outside in the cold and the rain, and then standing for the entire time the president's speaking, supporting his agenda. Which brings us tonight to our Hannity Watch on what is the radical socialist takeover of the Democratic Party. Now, the president is promoting freedom, low taxes, national security, and strength. Uninformed socialist extremists, they are now steering the ship at the DNC in a pretty big way, a kind of scary way. Now look at freshman Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who says the world's going to end in 12 years, is now leading the way. She is the chief spokesman leader for the Democratic Party. And in some background, look at the new leader of the left. Take a look.
Medicare for all would save the American people a very large amount of money. Why aren't we incorporating the cost of all the funeral expenses of those who die because they can't afford access to health care? But when it comes to tax cuts for billionaires and when it comes to unlimited war, we seem to be able to invent that money very easily. We look at these figures and we say, oh, unemployment is low, everything is fine, right? Well, unemployment is low because everyone has 2 jobs. We need to occupy every airport. We need to occupy every border. We need to occupy every ICE office.
If we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all 3 chambers of Congress, all 3 chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House.
You use the term the occupation of Palestine. What did you mean by that?
I think what I meant is like the settlements. Just last year, we gave the military a $700 billion budget increase, which they didn't even ask for. And we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it?
No, I think it is a green dream. And I think that it is. You know, I don't consider that to be a dismissive term. I think it's a great term.
I guess it's no surprise that Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez's Green New Deal has now become a nationwide laughingstock, except for the fact Democrats are really serious about this insane piece of legislation. Take it seriously. 2020 presidential hopefuls are literally tripping over each other to support the Green New Deal. Make no mistakes. Democrats want to radically reshape this country into a little socialist eco-utopia that will promise everything and deliver nothing but catastrophe and poverty. And if you're wondering what a socialist utopia looks like, well, this new Green Deal, no more oil, no more natural gas, no more nuclear, no more airplanes, no more gas-powered cars, no more gas-powered ovens, no more cows because of flatulence. Government promise, paid leave, medical leave, paid vacation. Now they wrecked high school and K through 12, so now they're going to wreck college. Education free for all, healthy food for all, government-forced renovation of every building in America in the name of energy efficiency. Government paid for high-speed rail connecting every city in America. We won't have airplanes, so I guess we'll have high-speed trains to Australia and Asia and Europe. And they're going to guarantee income to every single person, even those unwilling to work. Wow. And a retirement plan. But believe it or not, there's even more madness. Now, we'd be here all night if I listed it all. So look at the side of your screen. And here's the kicker. The Green New Deal is calling for this to happen in 10 years, and the world is going to be over in 12 years, according to Ocasio-Cortez, if we don't act. On Twitter today, she said passing the Green New Deal is a life or death issue. Well, in a way, she's right, because if this ever happens in this country, the American dream that has created more wealth, more prosperity than any other country on the face of this earth, it's over. Government will take over every single industry, the healthcare industry, no private healthcare, the energy industry. They will give you that cradle to grave, womb to tomb promise. They'll tell you what car you can drive, where you can travel, what you can eat, and even how you cook it. And more notably, in order to try and pay for that insanity, mother government, well, they'll own your paycheck. From each according to their ability, to each according to their needs. Right, Congresswoman? And I know you watch the show. And let's not forget about those who would be impacted first. Airlines, 700,000 employees, goodbye. Over 10 million people owe their jobs to oil and the gas industry. See ya. Millions more serve in roles related to those 2 major industries. Promoting this stupid deal, Democrats, they're actively calling for tens of millions of Americans to lose high-paying jobs, and it's only going to get bigger. We have 2 pipelines on the line, and we opened Anwar. We're the #1 world producer, surpassing Saudi Arabia and Russia for the first time in 70 years. And all the high-paying career jobs that will be available for people. Look at this Fox News poll. 25% of Americans have a favorable view of socialism. It promises everything and never delivers historically a thing. And another freshman Democratic lawmaker is making news for also all the wrong reasons, and that's Congresswoman Omar, embroiled in a serious controversy over her constant stream of hatred and anti-Semitic remarks. And she has since issued an apology on one of the remarks, but her bad behavior on Capitol Hill is not going away. Look at this from earlier today, a hearing with the administration's new special envoy for Venezuela, Elliot Abrams. Watch this doozy.
I fail to understand why members of this committee or the American people should find any testimony that you give today to be truthful.
If I can respond to that.
It wasn't a question. That was not a question. I reserve the right to my time. Yes or no, do you think that massacre was a fabulous achievement that happened under our watch?
That is a ridiculous question, and I
yes or no?
No.
I will take that as a yes.
No, I'll take it as a yes. And as of today, yeah, that extremist holds all of our very important committee assignments. So let's recap the week for Democrats. One member of Congress spreading an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory about Jewish money. Bozo O'Rourke said that walls kill people. 3 top Democrats in Virginia refusing to resign, 2 over blackface controversies, 1 over, rape allegations and sexual assault. Multiple top Democrats supporting a bill that would turn America into a socialist disaster eco-state. Multiple 2020 candidates for the Democrats calling for tax increases and government stealing. One still apologizing for faking her ethnicity. Spartacus himself, well, he's calling for an end to all meat consumption. What a week to think the race is just getting started. Well, full coverage on all of this later. First, we turn Hannity watch on the deep state. Now, while we sound the alarm, Democrats are suspiciously silent on the increasing evidence of corruption, abuse of power inside the FBI and the Justice Department, like the alleged quid pro quo agreement between the FBI, the Clinton State Department. We have new documents obtained by Judicial Watch. The top FBI brass, including Lisa Page, who was, well, with Peter Strzok, they're scrambling in the run-up to the 2016 election about evidence of an offer from a Clinton ally, ex-State Department official Patrick Hannity, to have the Bureau reduce the classification that they found on Anthony Weiner's laptop. A Clinton email in exchange will boost FBI personnel abroad, but just change the classification so she doesn't have to go to jail. We'll have a report coming up later in the show, but first, joining us now to our top story, former acting ICE director, Fox News contributor Thomas Homan, and Freedom Caucus chairman Mark Meadows. Congressman Meadows, I just listened to the president publicly, and I hear a guy saying, okay, if it's clean, the 1375, and I can use it for the wall, I'll take it. I'm going to use this extra money, anywhere between $900 million and maybe billions, and I'm going to declare a national emergency, and people don't seem to want to listen to him.
Well, they better start listening to him. This is a president who has performed over and over and over again. He's moved the embassy to Jerusalem. He's brought back jobs from China to America. The economy is roaring. We've got a number of people that were hostages brought home. Every time they say he won't do it, he does do it. He's going to do it this time. I'm confident of that. If he passes this bill to make sure that the government stays open, so be it. But I believe that he will take executive action to make sure he gets the dollars that he needs to make sure that that wall gets built.
If he does that, do you agree with me? In the interim, while now, part of the wall is being built right now. Some is being repaired right now with previously allocated money. So, assuming, let's say he signs this deal, other people have been nervous about it. To me, he's using it to buy time, predicting the legal arguments the left will make. I think he ultimately wins if the Supreme Court does its job and follows the law and the Constitution. And in the interim, the wall project keeps getting built. What's bad about that?
Well, there's nothing bad about it. It's part of a three-step process that this president has deployed and will deploy because Congress won't do his job, quite frankly. We could have done a lot better. We could have given him the $5.7 billion that he requested, but instead he's having to embark on a three-step process that I applaud. I mean, you know, I can tell you that I wish that the executive branch would have less ability to do things on their own. But there are statutes and laws in place right now that allow this president and previous presidents to do it.
U.S. Code 284, right?
284, there's three different sections, but they're laws that are on the books. So he's not even violating a law. He's deploying what is a tool in his toolbox to get it done. He's committed to do that. I've been talking to the administration. As long as the Democrats don't play a trick on him, and that is put a poison pill in this, we're still waiting to see the legislation.
Nobody's seen it. Where is it?
No, I mean, listen, Nancy Pelosi is putting her freshman in the place that she has long espoused. You got to pass the bill before you can read it and know what's in it, and that is the play that's being played here tonight.
Tom, the talking point of the hate Trump media and the hate Trump Democrats has always been this is a manufactured crisis. If 90% of our heroin crosses that border, we have gang members, cartels, and again, that's the 2%. People that we know have committed homicides, sexual assaults, violent assaults, human trafficking, even young girls into prostitution. That sounds to me like a real humanitarian and national security crisis.
Well, look, all they got to do, as you said earlier, talk to the angel moms. But, you know, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer refuse to talk to angel moms. They refuse to go down the border and talk to the experts, the men and women in green that put their lives on every day. So they don't know what a manufactured crisis is. They say the wall's immoral, it's ineffective. They refuse to look at the data because the data shows every place that various mobilities worked. And you forgot one number, Sean. 138,000 criminal aliens were arrested by ICE this past year. Illegal aliens that committed crimes in this country. They just didn't appear here. They come across the southwest border. So it's terrible.
Will the president do this simultaneously, Mark Meadows? In other words, okay, if he signs that horrible budget deal but gets some money for the wall, if he has the extra money that he's going to appropriate for the wall, and he goes whatever emergency route he decides or the law he cites that will be challenged in a court, I would expect he does it all at once. What do you think?
Well, I would think so. I don't know for sure, Sean. I can tell you that at this point, the president is committed to making sure our communities are safe. And he's also committed to making people like Tom in his previous career be the ones that are in control of the border, not drug cartels. It's a dangerous place. He's committed to do it. I've not seen him so resolved on any one issue since he's come into office.
And he has a 2-year track record
for doing that.
Last word. He has a 2-year track record of keeping his word.
Yeah, look, you know, I don't like this deal. I've said it from day one until I see the writing. Look, we have a surge at the border, and they want to take beds away from ICE. Even the agreement says 42,000 beds. They got 49,000 till now. And to get to that 42,000 number, they got to go 7,000 below that number, gets them at 35,000. That's a bad message to send to Central America. Come, we're going to detain a lot less of you.
All right, thank you both for being with us. A lot of breaking news tonight. Mitch McConnell moves ahead with Ocasio-Cortez. Let's have a vote on the Green New Deal on the Senate floor. Tim Tebow is in the House. We'll talk about his latest project. And our villain of the day, truly disturbing. New details about one of the worst killers in American history. Trace Gallagher joins us. And your email straight ahead.
No, I think it is a green dream. And I think that it is. And I think that that all great American programs, everything from the Great Society to the New Deal, started with a vision for our future. And I don't think that, I don't consider that to be a dismissive term. I think it's a great term.
All right, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez announcing her Green New Deal. I think we're up to about 100 Democrats that support her. Breaking tonight, the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell invoked Rule 14 on the Green New Deal to bring it right to the Senate floor. Brilliant move. Good job, Mitch McConnell. Joining us now, Fox News contributor Tammy Bruce, America First, Action Senior Advisor Sean Spicer. Let's get them all on record. Nancy needs to bring it up in the House, bring it up in the Senate. I want to know who supports banning airplanes and redoing every building in America and free everything and nationalizing industry.
You know, what's interesting is that the Democrats thought that they were just going to roll with this as they had been, as this idea. I did a column a few weeks ago saying there was really no substance to it yet. It really didn't even really exist. And then, of course, we had the scandal of them removing the reality of what it was they were proposing, including money for people unwilling to work. But what they had thought this was going to be was a fun way to signal to millennials and to progressives about what they stood for without having to do anything about it, without anything really needing to exist. A resolution is not a bill. And so they thought this was just going to be a lot of media and press. Having to vote is a reminder now that people will either have to vote with the individuals who want to pay people who are unwilling to work, or they're going to have to vote against them, which will signal to the base that this has been an unserious framework from the start.
Well, I don't think it is unserious. And Sean, I'll actually make the case. I'm going to stand up for Ocasio-Cortez. I think she's probably the most honest, extreme, radical, democratic socialist in the country, in that she's saying what they have been, well, what they wanted to do incrementally for years, and they've used the courts for, what they could never get done at the ballot box or legislatively, and they use activist justices to do this dirty work for them. But this is what they want. This is their dream bill.
You're right, and it's a dream bill in the sense that it's not based in reality. That's generally speaking what dreams are. But dreams are generally also positive things. Nightmares are negative things. And I think that this is a dream in the sense that it's not based in reality, but it's a nightmare in terms of what it would do to our country and our economy. Sean, just a few years ago, this would be sort of one of the fringe things of the Democratic Party. Unfortunately, it is now the mainstream. You look at every one of the 2020 announced or prospective candidates for president on the Democratic side, and they're all embracing this. But what are they embracing? Not a policy difference, not more spending. That would be typical for a Democrat. But they're basing something that they can't even tell you where it ends up. This is insanity. The idea that we want to end all sorts of commercial travel, the idea that we want to certify every building in a way that they can't tell you how they're going to get there,
we're going to rebuild
would kill so many jobs, is insane. And I think that people, and I'm glad that the leader's going to put it up for a vote, because we need to expose the agenda that's really coming. And most of the time they mask it in really good words and all sorts of things. This time, I think everybody needs to understand exactly what's happening and call a spade a spade. This is socialism. There's no other way around it.
And Sean is absolutely right in that this is also a nihilistic agenda.
Which Sean?
Well, that's
okay.
Sean. But
Both.
You too. Again, Sean Squared here on the program. And that's what I think matters as well. But I would caution in this argument of starting with this message that it's not affordable or how much it would cost. That presupposes it should even be considered as feasible to implement. That would be like saying we're going to go to the moon, and then we would be arguing about how much it would cost to redistribute all of the green cheese that we're going to harvest from the moon. We wouldn't go to the cost of harvesting the green cheese because it's not going to happen, and it's absurd.
We have created a nation that of wealth and opportunity that has even the poor. So you compare the poor in America, which we want everybody lifted out of poverty. By the way, new statistic out today, Donald Trump got 1.5 million people off of food stamps since he's been president, 1 million out of poverty, 5.3 million new jobs, 600,000 manufacturing jobs. We have 2 pipelines in the works, and we have ANWR opening up.
It's fantastic. It's just
Sean,
great.
these are literally hundreds of thousands, high-paying career jobs that will increase the wealth of every American. We are the Saudi Arabia of natural gas. We are the Middle East of natural gas.
Yeah, look at what the president talked about during the State of the Union. The economy, by all measures, is humming. People are doing better. They're taking home more pay. They've got more opportunity. They're living better lives, and we're safer in this country. The president's doing exactly what he wanted. And instead of offering a realistic alternative, you see this new congresswoman offering a fictitious world to live in that defies reality. And this is the challenge that the president is up against this time. Putting his accomplishments on the table and explaining to people that we've made the country better, and we can continue to do that for 4 more years.
And you know what she's really offering? Everybody gets the Fred Flintstone car, where you have to pedal with your feet, and maybe there'll be
no airplanes, no meat. You know, we're going to nationalize all industry and no health care. We're all under this one health care plan. A lot of good Obamacare worked out. All right, thank you. All right, when we come back, we have a Hannity investigation, and you will see A new report, FBI going straight up against the Fox News channel. Also tonight, Tim Tebow in the House to talk about his latest project. And the villain of the day tonight will literally make your skin crawl. And your email, straight ahead. All right, in new news developing tonight, Hannity Watch on the deep state. We've got more corruption evidence inside the FBI, according to new documents uncovered by Judicial Watch. The FBI brass scrambled to respond to Fox News inquiries about talks of an alleged quid pro quo over Clinton emails in the run-up to the 2016 election. Now, despite this mounting evidence of a politicized FBI that wasn't doing his job and gone a witch hunt against Trump and protecting Hillary, the media continues to obsess over what? Mueller investigation, which, by the way, is seeing a darker and darker cloud hanging over its credibility. Now, just listen to former Trump attorney John Dowd.
What does he have? What's the result? What's the conclusion?
Decline. There's no basis. There's no exposure. It's been a terrible waste of time. What's worse is, let's get on the other side of this, how it all happened. This is one of the greatest frauds this country's ever seen. And I'm just shocked that Bob Mueller didn't call it that way and say I'm being used.
Sarah Carter also reporting tonight that Roger Stone alleges in a new court filing that the special counsel's office leaked an unsealed indictment to fake news CNN and tipped the network off to their pre-dawn raid with amphibious vehicles, tactical vehicles, the pre-dawn 27 guys, Roger Stone in his shorts, really, over a process crime. Here with reaction, author of the #1 bestseller, The Russia Hoax, now with a new chapter out in paperback, Fox News legal analyst Greg Jarrett, Fox News contributor Sarah Carter is with us. Sarah, let's start with you, and I want to get into the details because it's the Fox News component, but this is when they found Weiner's laptop, and they found classified material. And the State Department, Clinton supporters, are offering a number of great things that the FBI wants if they just would declassify and protect Hillary from the crime she committed.
That's right. What they wanted to do was, Sean, they wanted to reduce the classifications so that if it was secret, they would reduce that to not secret, maybe to office sensitive only. This was Patrick Hannity, and I want to take people back because Patrick Hannity at the time was the Undersecretary of Management at the State Department, and there were enormous problems at the State Department during this time. Patrick Hannity was in the middle of the whole Benghazi scandal. According to sources that I've spoken with over the years, Patrick Hannity was trying to run interference on that. And this was the reason he was so nervous about these classified emails, because he knew and he suspected that there were emails regarding Benghazi within Clinton's server that would expose what was going on. So he tried to run interference. He goes to the FBI. He says, look, I can give your agents, posts overseas in Iraq, in other areas throughout the world. If we could just work something out. They did not. According to the FBI and according to the information that we have that's been made available, the FBI did not do what Patrick Hannity suggested. There were 10 pages of email exchanges that Judicial Watch did obtain, and you could see that they were scrambling because Fox News was asking very serious, very poignant questions
they were
that
afraid.
the FBI was afraid. Yeah, the FBI was terrified, and so was the State Department.
I heard I'm really not liked by these guys we talk about a lot. You're going to get the pre-dawn raid before me, though. Greg Jarrett, this is a lot like the exoneration without investigation. This is a lot like Bill Clinton wanting to meet with the Nuclear Authority and Uranium One, meets with Putin, triple his pay, $145 million back, CFIUS, and the Russian dossier she paid for. Sure. A lot of Russia collusion here.
What's amazing is the FBI has it in writing that they were being, quote-unquote, pressured with a, quote-unquote, quid pro quo.
That has a crime.
That has a special legal meaning. A quid pro quo is a corrupt act, an exchange of benefits for a public official act.
Al Dershowitz, though, says last night, well, it didn't happen.
That's not a defense. It's not a defense if I shoot a gun and my bullet misses my intended target. It's attempted murder. If I try to bribe an officer and he rejects it, it's an attempted bribe. It's not only that, it's attempted obstruction of justice and a violation of several public corruption laws.
I feel.
And what did the FBI do? Nothing.
My prediction is now things are going to move more quickly, and there are going to be criminal referrals and indictments on FISA, lying to Congress, and these issues. It's now happening.
I agree. 100%.
It's all going to happen.
That's exactly.
The
what's going to happen.
people at the FBI who chose to hide this and take no action because it was Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, they ought to be held accountable, because if Trump did this, there would be a TAC team raid at that individual's home.
All right, we are going to stay on it. We will not stop. When we come back, one-on-one, Tim Tebow about to make big news. Stay tuned for that. Our villain of the day tonight, you won't believe what this guy's up to, and your mail straight ahead. All right, Tim Tebow, known for many things: Heisman Trophy winner, professional football, now professional baseball player, devout Christian. Well, you can now add movie producer to the list. Tim Tebow, executive producer of Run the Race, inspirational film about two brothers trying to find their way, and in the process, they get closer to God. Oh, this isn't a public school. We can talk about God. Amazing. Now, the film is in theaters nationwide February 22nd. Here's a quick clip of the film's trailer.
I'm going to get that scholarship. I'm going to get us out of here.